9000 मोल राख्यौँ किन्ने भए किन 8मा त म दिँदैन मेरो त पहिलो परिवर्तनमा हामीलाई थाहा थिएन जहिले जति पनि उतिमा हापालन्थ्यो आवाज त्यसो गर्दैन तालिम दिए त हामीलाई पुरा थाहा भइसक्यो त्यसरी आफ्नो मोललाई आफ्नो चिजलाई कसरी पनि लिइसकिने भयो 45 दिनको तालिम दियो दोस्या 35 दिनको तालिम दियो तालिमबाट अब कसरी बाख्रो बाच्ने हो कसरी बाख्राको दबाई गर्ने हो भन्ने यी सब सिकायो बाख्रा भया बाख्रा खसी बेच्या बोक्या बेच्या सबतिरबाट मलाई फाइदा भयो खाना पनि पुगिसकेको छ ऋण पनि तारिनु छ सबतिर बालबच्चालाई स्कुल कपडा फिस तिर्दालाई सब पुगेको छ तनै बाख्रा पालेर
In Nepal, the forced labor is primarily found in a traditional type of agriculture work, that is in the form of Halia, Harua Charwa, and Kamaya communities, and they are particularly in debt-bondage situation. And when it comes to the national laws and policies, there are several policies that talk about forced labor, that ban forced labor. For example, the Civil Code is there. Labor Act 2017 has clearly defined forced labor based on international definition. And the Kamaya Rehabilitation and Prohibition Act is also there. These laws are trying to cover forced labor aspects in many areas, but a comprehensive law that would cover all type of forced labor is still lacking in Nepal, which Nepal government is trying to develop, particularly the Ministry of Labor, Industry, Employment and Social Security. They are leading this process now, and hopefully they will develop a comprehensive law that would cover all types of forced labor in Nepal.
Nepal is pathfinder country and committed to address forced labor. In concern to elimination of forced labor, the government of Nepal announced Kamaya liberation in 2001 and Halia's liberation in 2008. The government has distributed piece of land and support cash for the house construction to the victims of forced labor.
मैले 16 वर्षमा घर छाडे मैले हजुर 2400 रुपैयाँ गडे मैले अब बुढाले हजुर 60 वर्षसम्म हलो जोते त हलिया मुक्तिको कुराकानी चल्यो तब मैले छाड्दिएँ अरे मैले 2400 रुपैयाँ बुझाएभरि छाडे 60 वर्षमा छाडे मैले
The Bridge program has focused on how we can implement the forced labor protocol, number 29, in Nepal. And really, this program is partly about developing national laws that are in line with that protocol, but most importantly, it's about developing programs on the ground to reach those people who have been left behind by development in the past years, past decades in Nepal.
The Bridge project has been implemented the livelihood training programs with the various steps: market and beneficiaries need analysis, selection of venues and participants, baseline information collection, skills and employability enhancement trainings, skills testing through National Skill Testing Board, post-training support, and the final step is monitoring of the process and the inline information collections. We have trained more than 700 people for the victims of the forced labor people, and out of them 67 people percentage of were the female participants.
यहाँ अब म बसेर सिलाउँछु सर, अब रेडिमेड कपडा पनि छन् अनि म अरूलाई सिकाउँदा पनि सिकाउँछु। यो कसरी? यो दुईटै एउटै हो मूल्य। अहिले कमाइहरू छ सर, अब ठिकै छ भनौँ, मान्छे अब ग्राहक हेरी हुन्छ, ग्राहक जति आयो त्यति नै हो।
3 दिनपछि आउँछु लिन।
हजुर,
राम्रो सिलाइदिनु।
ल हुन्छ।
म अब इन्डिया जाँदैन सर, अब यतै आफ्नै नेपालमै आफ्नै घरमै केही सानो बिजनेस गरेर बसौँ न भनाइ छ अब श्रीमान श्रीमती।
जेठो छोरा त्यही 12 वर्षको भयो, 4 क्लास पढ्छ। अहिले कान्छो छोरा चाहिँ 8 वर्षको भयो अनि 1 क्लास पढ्छ। अब आफ्नै बिजनेसन गरेर बच्चाहरू राम्रो स्कुलमा पढ्न पाछन्, आफूलाई पनि अब पहिला जस्तो गाह्रो छैन। अहिले अब जे किनेर खाउँ भने पनि पुगिया छ, लाउन पनि पुगिया छ। अब त्यसैमै खुसी छौँ भनौँ।
Skills programs are common throughout the country, but the difference here is really utilizing a very robust market assessment to determine what skills are required on the market, both in the present market, but also looking in the future. So in essence, your initiative is looking at the different streams of discrimination, of exploitation that people experience on the ground, and addressing all of those factors at the same time, and recognizing that none of these issues can be resolved unless we involve people and we allow their voices, we channel their voices to federal level discussions to change policy, to change how people think, and to make sure that they are included in the development processes of the country. And one of the key areas of success of this program is the kind of partnerships that we've been able to develop with the Halia Association, who have been affected by bonded labor.
मुक्त हलियालाई पहिचान हुनेदेखि लिएर पुनर्स्थापना कार्यमा सहयोग हुनेदेखि लिएर उनीहरूलाई क्षमता विकासका कुरादेखि लिएर एडभोकेसी अझ छुटेका मुक्त हलियालाई तथ्याङ्क लिनुपर्छ भन्ने अझ पनि एक वकालत गर्ने कुराहरुमा आयोले ठूलो सहयोग गरेको छ। त्यो सँगै मैले भने यो ठूलो संख्याको मात्रामा उनीहरूले सहयोग जो अहिले उनीहरू विकासमा गरेर उनीहरूलाई पुनर्स्थापनाको नेपाल सरकारलाई पनि सहयोग भयो त्यसको, र हामीलाई पनि मुक्त हलिया समुदायलाई सहयोग भएको छ त्यसको सवालमा।
मुक्त हलियामध्ये पनि एउटा एकल महिला छ भने त्यसलाई पहिलो प्रायोरिटी, त्यसपछि हामीले एकदमै उमेरगतलाई पनि प्रायोरिटी गरेका छौँ, र त्यसपछि हामीले यो व्यवसायमा गर्ने इच्छा शक्ति र जस्तो बजार क्षेत्रमा तरकारीको हो भने बजार, र त्यस्तो ब्युटी पार्लर हो, मोटरसाइकल हो, यस्ता बजारहरू त्यसरी सम्भाव्यता अध्ययन गरेर यसरी गरेका छन्।
हाम्रो यही कडाईको अनि त्यही सिंगार त्यही बेचेर फेरि त्यसैमा थप्दा अनि लोन लियो, त्यसमा सामान आयो अनि त्यो बेच्यो तिर्यो अनि फेरि थप्यो, त्यसमा यस्तो गर्दै गरेको छ। अहिले 500 लाख पुगेको छ, त्योभन्दा पनि बढी होला। कहिले 400 बचत गर्छु, कहिले 500, कहिले 1000 पनि यस्तो बचत पनि गरिरहेछ। हामीले यस्तो सहकारी संस्थामा खाता खोलेका छौँ, यसमा आउँछन् दैनिक बचत गर्छु। यो ठाउँमा कोही छैन त्यस्तो कडाई गर्ने होला, यसैलाई म विस्तृत रूपले यसै ठाउँलाई अगाडि बढाउँ भन्ने यस्तो सोच लागेको छ मेरो। जति त्यो बसेका छन् तिनीहरूलाई यही रोजगार दिएर यसैलाई बृहत रूपमा बनाएर यहीबाट म विश्वास आएको छ। गर्व लाग्छ किन लाग्दैन, खोल्न पाए राम्रो भयो हामी।
The U.S. Department of Labor-funded Bridge project targets former bonded laborers in Nepal, training them on skills that will help them find decent work and make them less vulnerable to bonded labor. What's special about this project in Nepal is that it works to support employment and income generation as an effective barrier to bonded labor. I would also note that many of the skills trainings, such as vegetable farming, goat keeping, and poultry farming, are specifically designed to be accessible to those who may be illiterate. This is very important as 58% of the female participants and 19% of the men in Bajura, a district in West Nepal, have never attended school. To promote women's participation, the trainings are held to take into account their household and family responsibilities. For instance, by not holding trainings too early in the day and offering stipends to assist participation. In total, we are pleased to report that 67% of the participants are women. The Bridge Project employs a gender transformative approach, with women being trained in trades that have traditionally been reserved for men, such as masonry, house painting, mobile phone repair, motorbike repair, and electrical work. In Kanchanpur, another project district in West Nepal, out of the 20 participants in masonry training, 100% are women.
आइएलओको सहयोगले जति पनि विगतका एक्टिभिटीहरू भए आर्थिक आयोजनका कुराहरू भए साक्षरताका कुरा यसले एउटा वास्तवमा उनीहरूमा न्यानोपन उत्पादन गरेको छ रोजगारी सिर्जना भएको छ उनीहरूले अहिले आफै सिप चलाएर आय आर्जन गरेको मलाई एकदम खुसी लाग्छ मैले धेरै पटक अनुभव गरेको छु सिलाइमा आत्मनिर्भर भएका छन् अनि त्यस्तै मोबाइल तालिम हेर्नु कति राम्रो मोबाइल चलाएर पसल खोलेर अगाडि बढेका छन्
अलिकति अनुभव हल्का अनुभव मलाई थियो किनभने सिक्नु पाए भए अलिकति राम्रो खालको के अरे सामानहरू पनि बनाउन सकिन्थ्यो कि भन्ने आशा थियो म विश्वास थियो त्यही भएर अनि त्यो तालिम गर्न गएको हो सर तालिमबाट एकदम सिकेँ सर मैले किनभने औजार चलाउने कुरादेखि लिएर काटछेक गर्ने कुरा त्यो मिलाउने कुरा मेरो जीवन परिवर्तन पनि भयो सर किनभने यसरी काम गर्दाखेरि आम्दानी पनि हुँदो रहेछ भन्ने कुरा पनि सिकियो सर पहिलो त हामीसँग प्रमाण थिएन प्रमाण भएको मान्छेले थर्काइदियो भने त एक साल लाग्नु पर्थ्यो अब त आफूसँग प्रमाण भएको कारणले काम पनि जताततै पनि पाउने भयो सर सहर बजारतिर जाँदा पनि पाउने भयो कुनै गाउँमा पनि जाँदा त्यो प्रमाण आधारले सर काम पाइने भयो पहिला तालिम गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि सर हाम्रो त्यही 250, 300, 500 सम्म हुन्थ्यो सर दिनको अहिले तालिम गरिसके पछाडि सर म के भयो भन्नुहुन्छ भने अब 1200 जति त दिनको हामी मार्छौँ सर
आइएलओले के गरिदियो भनेपछि जो तालिम दियो तपाईलाई 52 दिनका 55 दिनका उनीहरूलाई त्यहाँभन्दा पनि मान्छे त कोही हामी पढाइ लेखेर कोही सिप सिक्नका लागि बाहिर कहीँ हाम्रो मान्छे कोही गयो यताउतिको गयो भने त हामीले त 3-4 लाख रुपैयाँ तिर्नुपर्ने हैन त्यो नभएर हामीलाई उल्टा फाइदा सिप पनि सिक पैसा पनि ल्याऊ अनि तपाईले सिप सिकेर औजार पनि ल्याऊ त्यति मात्रामा उपलब्धि गर्दै आइएलओलाई अति धन्यवाद छ
The success of the livelihood interventions are also linked to the way the Bridge Project partners with local organizations and the government of Nepal to increase their capacity to also help deliver, expand, and sustain these interventions. However, there is still a gap and a need for further support. In total, the Bridge Project has supported 700 out of an estimated 16,000 families of freed Haliyas in 3 of the 12 districts where these communities reside. The remaining Haliya families are still vulnerable to forced labor and debt bondage. Our hope is that what we are learning from the Bridge Project can be built upon to support other freed Haliyas and other groups of former bonded laborers, such as the Kamayas and the Hurua Churua populations in Nepal. We would also love to see livelihoods and skills-building interventions like this replicated in other countries to help support survivors of forced labor and their families, and to build barriers against exploitation through the promotion of decent work.
अब म सिकिसकेँ अब एक्लै पनि म गर्न सक्छु भन्ने मलाई आँट भइरहेको छ।
चुपा